Does your current PSO charge a fortune to drill bowling balls? Is your PSO really far away from you? Or does your PSO not know what the heck he's doing and ruin all your bowling balls? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may be a candidate to be drilling your own bowling balls in your garage. Hey everybody, Boneful here. So this is a video that's been in the works for a while now. I'm pretty much just gonna go unedited and just go off the cuff with this one. And this one is going to be a part 2 or a what would I do different video about setting up your own DIY Pro Shop garage, similar to what I have. I've started my DIY Pro Shop back in January of 2025. I made my DIY Pro Shop video around June of 2025. It's been my most popular video to date. So thank you everyone out there for helping me grow my channel. That's the video that got my channel up off the ground. So I want to thank every single one of you. With that said, we're close to 2,000 subscribers. So if you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the like while you're at it. Once I hit 2,000, I will be doing a giveaway. And in that giveaway, we'll be giving out a bowling ball of your choice. Any current release bowling ball that's out on the market today, you can potentially win. So make sure you hit subscribe. Been a lot of changes since I've done my first video. I've upgraded to a mill press from a drill press. I've also upgraded to a slew of accessories that make my bowling shop complete. I've learned quite a few things in the process, and the goal of this video is to help you out so that you guys will avoid the pitfalls that I've gone through and save you guys a little bit of time. So I get a ton of questions and emails from you guys on a daily basis of what kind of drill press should you get? What kind of chuck should you get? What kind of drill bit should you get? What kind of XY table? And so on and so on. I've made a few videos that I'll put down in the description that were designed to help answer a lot of those questions, but hopefully this video will answer pretty much every question that you have, because I'm gonna dig deep. If you're not sitting down, you may wanna sit down. I'm probably gonna make this video around 30 minutes or so. We're gonna dive deep and get into the meat and potatoes of what it takes to start your own bowling pro shop. So with that said, we have a mill press here, all right? There's 2 different options you can do. Obviously, this is one of the main items you're gonna need if you wanna drill your own bowling balls. So you're gonna need a drill press or a mill press. I've decided to upgrade to a mill press. If you watched my earlier video, I had the Delta 18-900L drill press, which I have then sold to the brother-in-law, which he's been using for about a year now, which he loves it, works perfectly for him. If money is an object and you're trying to be as minimal cost as you possibly can, you're gonna wanna go the route of the drill press. My recommendation is to get a floor model drill press. The floor model drill press has plenty of room from table to bottom of spindle in order to get your drill bits in and out. If this table is too short, you're not gonna be able to get your drill bits in and out of there. The ball's gonna be in the way and you'll have a problem. That usually comes with a benchtop drill press, which is why I don't recommend a lot of the benchtop drill presses. There, like I said in previous videos, there may be a few out there that meet the requirement of distance, but with those bench tops, you're probably gonna have problems with quill distance. And quill distance, you need at least 4¼ inches for quill travel. This one has 5 inches quill travel, which is more than enough. If you are drilling thumbs, you're gonna need 4¼ If you are drilling just fingers, you don't need that much. You could probably get away with 3 inches. So we're gonna talk about the mill press that I have here. So the first video that I made, I had the Delta 18-900L drill press. In this video, we're gonna focus more on the mill press. If you have any questions at all about the drill presses that you're looking at, or what drill press is compatible with my jig, or which one is good for drilling bowling balls, leave a comment down below or email me at thebowlingfool@gmail.com. So the main difference between a mill press and a drill press, as I stated in my previous videos, is a drill press only has vertical support. A mill press has horizontal and vertical support, which meaning that if I have a drill bit in here and I have, say, like a piece of wood or a piece of metal, I can turn this on have it drilling into the item, and move the table at the same time to give me a machined part. This can handle the side load as it's actually moving horizontal in either direction. A drill press, you cannot do that. If you tried that with a drill press, you would ruin it. Not that you're ever going to do that drilling bowling balls. You have an XY table here that you can move horizontally. You're only going to move this table to get it set up to get the proper pitches that you need. And once you have it operating and you drill, you're only drilling it as this is stationary. But if you ever wanted to mill pieces of metal or pieces of wood in the future, a mill press is more than capable of doing that. And that's essentially what these are made for. It's a heavy duty bowling ball drilling press is what I call it. This is a Rong RF31. I got this for $1,900, which is a pretty good deal considering it was refurbished. Brand new, these will cost you $4,000 to $5,000. There's a lot of other companies that make mill presses. You have Jet, you have Grizzly, you have a lot of the other brands that look very similar to this that may have been clones. So a lot of the ones, if they look exactly identical to this, they were clones of the Rong Fu. So this has a 5-inch spindle travel, which is more than enough distance to be drilling your thumb holes. So if you do decide to get a mill press, I have this whole head unit adjusted all the way to the stop of the top. That gives you 18 inches from bottom of spindle to the top of table. So that's the minimum you're gonna need is 18 inches. Any less than that, and you're cutting into the distance between the end of that drill bit and the top of the bowling ball, which is gonna be problematic for you. So pretty much any mill press that looks like this is gonna work for you for drilling bowling balls. There's not too many mill presses out there that look like this that don't have the required 18-inch distance. So this one also came with the table, right? The table right here runs around $400 to $500 by itself. If you are looking at mill presses like this and it doesn't come with a table and you have to put it on something, I would not recommend putting it on a workbench like that. I would put it on something very strong that can handle the weight. This thing is 650 pounds. This is not light by any means. Very heavy piece of equipment. You want to make sure it's on something very strong and sturdy. If this thing ever fell down on you, you would be seriously injured. So make sure it's on a stable table that's made for it, or something that can withstand at least 1,000 pounds on top of it. All right, moving down here, this is another item that I got. This is a drill bit holder that was sold by a guy that made them on Facebook for 150 bucks. This is 3D printed. Killer deal. Your only other option, if you want something similar to this, is pay Innovative. I think it's $450 for theirs. It's made out of steel. This is very thick plastic. It seemed to work really good for me. And the cool thing is it has every single drill bit size labeled on there. So this holds a 41 piece with 4 in the middle for your larger bits and also your plug cutters. So I have my JoPo bit in there. I got really lucky with the drill bit collection that I have here. I bought this used from a guy that operated a pro shop. He sold me all 41 bits that came sharpened for $500. If you bought this whole set brand new, that would cost you close to $2,000. So you can find good deals on drill bits out there. You just have to constantly look. And once you find them, don't delay. Grab it. If it's a good deal, grab it. The pro shop guy that sold these had 2 sets of them. And I bought 1 set, and the other set went within a couple hours. They didn't last very long at all. So it all depends what you want to do. Do you want to drill just for yourself? If you're just looking to drill for yourself, I would only suggest getting the sizes that you need. And if you're doing inserts, all you need is 31/32. And if you're doing interchangeable thumbs, 1.5. And if you're doing JoPo, you're going to want to get this bit. This has the collar around it that automatically stops at the proper distance. This is a $250 bit. This is going to be the most expensive bit in your collection. Just to go to show, this 1 bit cost half of what these 41 bits cost. So not cheap by any means. You may be able to find used ones if you look closely. This is the version 3.0 jig that I currently make and sell. I've made bowling ball jigs since January of 2025, and this is my current iteration right now. Couple modifications around the corner that I've done on the version 3.0, along with the indents for the washer that makes it easy to take on and off. I also sell these jigs, so if you're interested, I'll put the link in the description below. I ship anywhere in the 48 states with free UPS shipping. Anywhere outside of that, give me an email at thebowlingfool@gmail.com for a quote on shipping international. If you do decide to get a drill press, I would highly recommend, this is the first thing you upgrade, is to get a good quality chuck. This is a Jacobs chuck. There's a couple other brands out there, such as Precision Matthews or Lambrick or Albrecht. Albrecht are very, very expensive. They were pretty much the first keyless chuck, I believe. It was invented in the late 1800s, if I'm not mistaken, or early 1900s. And those will set you back around 800 bucks. Precision Matthews is around 175 bucks. This one was $300. And a lot of them do come with warranties, and they're warranted to not have a run out past a specific number. So that's essentially the basics of a mill press in a nutshell. It's a nice upgrade. Now, I bought a drill press to begin with just because I could not find a good mill press for a good price. Finding a good mill press for a very good price is kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. You have to be constantly looking. And I was in a rush. I didn't want to wait. I kept looking. I couldn't find anything, and I wanted to drill bowling balls right now. So I decided to go out and buy the next best thing, which was a drill press. You have a couple options. You have either drill press or a mill press. It's up to you guys what your budget entails. Obviously, this is going to be the more expensive price, but you'll never have to upgrade. And the one thing that this thing does really well versus a drill press is this cuts plugs on a bowling ball very well. So if you are plugging up a lot of bowling balls and you want to cut the plugs down, this thing can do it no problems. A drill press may have a little bit of problems, or you may have a little bit of vibration. The Delta drill press that I had before gave a little bit of vibration as you first brought the plug cutter down. And as the plug cutter got closer to the ball, the vibration went away. What I do recommend if you guys decided to get a drill press is buy a separate router if you're going to cut plugs. That's what the brother-in-law does, and it saves wear and tear on his drill press. So if you do get a mill press, that's just one of the perks you can do, is cut plugs, no problem. So 90% of the pro shops out there use a mill press like this just because they're constantly using it day in and day out. They want something that's going to last. They want something that's going to be able to handle cutting plugs and drilling bowling balls. A lot of the pro shops, it's not uncommon for a pro shop to drill 15 balls in one day, at least. I know some pro shops are constantly busy. Some pro shops have 2 or 3 of these in their pro shop. So if you want the best and you don't want to have to upgrade later, and you want to make sure that you can do anything possible, spend the extra money and get a mill press. If you are currently looking for a drill press or a mill press and it's used and you're going to go check it out, one thing I would highly recommend is go get yourself a runout gauge. This is a runout gauge that I got on Amazon. I think I paid 40 bucks for this. Bring this with you. This will show you how much runout the drill press you're looking at has. And if it's too excessive, don't even bother with it. Just move along. And a lot of people that will sell drill presses or mill presses, maybe the runout's too much, and that's one of the reasons they're selling it. So just be very careful with that. This runout gauge will prove, without a shadow of a doubt, how much runout your drill press has. The next big purchase you're going to want to make is a shop vac, a very good one. So I know a lot of PSOs currently that use a cheaper version that's very loud. And this is the Stealthsonic made by DeWalt. It is very quiet. So if you're drilling bowling balls all day long, you want something that's going to be quiet. You don't want to get a headache from all the loud noise. Plus, if you're around a high decibels for long periods of time, you can lose your hearing and you will not get it back. You may have seen me use this on a lot of my live streams, where I can have this on and still have a conversation with you. So very quiet. This is the 12-gallon version that I bought for about 120 bucks. And I got this from Lowe's. So currently right now, the best deal for this is found on Lowe's. I also have a foot pedal that I got from Harbor Freight that I paid $16 for. Very handy for turning off and on instead of putting your hand down and turning that off and on like that. So I would highly recommend a Stealthsonic just for the fact it's very quiet. All right, so what I have laid out here are pretty much most of the accessories you're gonna need. So I have it laid out on the top of this table, and I have it on a table that I'm gonna show you in a bit. In no particular order, I have the build table swivel. So this allows you to figure out what size finger grips or what size thumb you are, and also tell you what your span is. All right, very expensive. If you're just drilling for yourself, I probably wouldn't end up getting this, but it's a good thing to have. When these do come up for sale, they sell out within minutes because a lot of times people sell these for about 150 bucks. If somebody is selling this and it's under 200 bucks, it won't last for more than 5 minutes. So you have to be quick on these. I lost my opportunity to get a couple of these for really cheap by being 2 minutes late. So if you see these for a real good deal, pick it up, do not delay. The next thing are the Jayhawk Perfect Pitch Gauges. This is another very expensive item that at the time, it was the only thing really available. These were just over 100 bucks a piece, not cheap. There's a guy on Facebook, I'm gonna try to put his link in the description, that makes one of these pretty much identical to this, except his is a one size fits all, and he charges 100 bucks for it. He wasn't making those at the time I got these, so these were my only option. Yes, I cringed when I bought those. Another little thing I got, ball workout tool. So if you're drilling thumbs and you want to scrape it out to get more to the shape of your thumb, this can be something that you can get. This is, I believe, 20 or 30 bucks. We have a bevel sander. You don't have to get this kind. This was a little bit pricey. This was 170 bucks. It's pretty much the best one you can get. You can also use a Dremel. So the sanding pads here will last me around 10 bowling balls. They're pretty cheap. You get them on a 100 pack. Over here, you want to have a supply of, I personally have interchangeable JoPo thumbs. So I buy these by the bulk. When you buy these by the 10 pack, the price comes out to about $9.50 a piece. So a pretty good deal. If you buy them by themselves, they're around $18 a piece, and they come in all sorts of different colors. I try to have as many as I possibly can of every single color on hand. Another thing you want to get is a file, kind of like this. And if you are using interchangeables, you have to file this down before you glue it into the bowling ball. These are pretty cheap, couple bucks on Amazon. I also have grips, plenty of grips. I personally use turbo grips. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, but I just prefer turbo grips over any of the other ones. And I have every single color. So if you don't have any connection with a bowling company or a bowling supplier like pro shops do, go to eBay. You can find these. There's a guy on eBay that sells Vice, Turbo, and I think a couple other brands, and they come out to around $1.50 a piece, which is a pretty good deal. Coming over here, you want a caliper, right? This will tell you the depth of the holes that you're drilling. And also you can check your bridge with this, and also the width of your holes that you're drilling as well too. So very valuable piece of equipment. This was, I believe, 20 bucks. I've got Pica Dry Pencils. So you may see this. This says Nick Pro. So these are just the pencil cases that I bought. And the reason I bought the Nick Pro pencil cases is because they have all the different colors. What you want to do, it doesn't matter what case you get. I just got these because I wanted to be all color coordinated. But this is the important thing. So you want to have the Pica Dry, if you can see that, the Pica Dry refills. And you can fill these up. These are around 10 or 11 bucks a piece. And they come in every single different color. These will last you for years. I mean, I've only used, I think, 1 or 2 of the white ones, and the rest of them pretty much still brand new. This is an insert removal tool. So if you are taking out inserts constantly, It's a hell of a lot better than a screwdriver, so I recommend getting one of these. These range from 30 to 60 bucks depending on the quality that you get. They come in 2 different sizes. 31/32 is the most common, and I think they come in 7/8 for lady grips. Also, too, I got bowling ball cleaner. I just make my own cleaner. It is a mixture of Simple Green, water, and a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Got these glass bottles on Amazon, 2-pack for 9 bucks. I got a bottle of isopropyl alcohol. You'll need that to clean up your holes there when you're drilling them. I've got some polish. Also have acetone, so when you're cutting down your inserts, if they're sticking out, you can cut them with a razor blade and then clean them up with a little bit of acetone. Also have glue. So of all the glues that I've used, this is the best one that I've found that works really good. Bob Smith Industries. I think this is around 12 bucks for a 2-ounce container. There's a couple different ways to do layout. So I personally do the dual layout method, which uses a turbo Pro Sect right here. This is around 75 bucks. And this is the common way that I personally lay out my bowling balls. There's a couple other options. If you are a 2-handed bowler or no thumb, you can do the 2LS method. Also, this works on regular. So this is the Storm Arc Ruler. That is around 15 bucks. So also the Jayhawk ruler, which you can measure out spans on your bowling ball. Coming over here, this is something that you take down to the bowling alley. This is called an Armadillo. And this will give you your positive access point, or PAP. So essentially what you do is you roll the bowling ball down the lane, preferably on oil. When the ball comes back, you will see oil lines. You want to line this top up, see all the lines on here. You will find the line on here that is parallel to the line of oil on your ball. Once you have that lined up, you put a little mark with your Pica Dry Pencil right here, and that indicates where your positive access point is. Very easy to use, very handy when you want to find out your PAP really quick. Another thing I have too are sanding pads. You're definitely going to want a bunch of sanding pads. So I've got these on Amazon, 24-pack for just under 20 bucks. So the best deal I've found. And it comes, I think the 24-pack comes from 360 grit all the way up to 5,000 grit. The only problem with these is the writing on the backside wears out as you use them because you want to use them with water. So I would recommend getting a Sharpie or a Mark Slot marker and just marking the grit so that you constantly know what it is the more and more you use it. You can see some of these are rubbed off. Definitely want to get sanding pads. Also, a polishing buff pad is good too. You can buy these in the 2-pack for around 15 bucks on Amazon. Bowling ball holders, a necessity. You got bowling ball spinner here. You want to rotate the bowling ball, you can get those as well too. Coming down here, we have the plug material, right? Plug compound, resin and hardener. So I used to use Storm Thunder Plug, and now I use the Ultimate Wizard 31, which I found to be the best. It's very thin, very easy to work with, and doesn't produce a lot of bubbles. It's around 200 bucks, and I believe you get 3 of these resins and 1 hardener. It's a 3-to-1 ratio mixture. Another thing I have here is a scale. You're definitely going to want a scale, especially if you're doing this. When you put the measurement in the measuring cups here, which is another thing you're going to want. Measuring cups and mixing sticks, pretty cheap on Amazon. Another thing is dyes, color dyes, right? So if you decide you want to plug your bowling balls, you're going to want to get this. I think I paid around 65 bucks for the whole set of these. Comes with every single color. The only thing you'll need separate are the pearls. So Motive makes the best silver pearl, and they make a gold pearl. So other than that, the set comes with pretty much every single color you'll need. You will do a lot of mixing to get the exact color. The colors you will need a lot of are white and black. But white, I found I've used quite a bit of this. So if you're doing your own plug-in, one thing you'll need too, which I didn't learn until later, are your silicone ice cube trays. So when you make the plug compound, you're going to have excess. So what do you do with that excess that you have? You pour it in here, and then it'll make these little hardened chips. These hardened chips can be used For your next bowling ball that you plug up, you just put these in the holes and it takes up the space so that you don't use as much the next time. Over here we have circle dams. We have oval dams. Okay, the oval dams are obviously for doing your fingers. And then we have the circle for doing your thumbs. Now, if you don't have interchangeables and you're constantly plugging up your bowling balls, you can get away with the smaller sizes. But if you have interchangeable thumbs, you're going to use the biggest size on here. You'll have about 25 of them. And once you get to the smaller ones, they really don't work for interchangeable. They're going to be too small. So one thing you can do instead of buying these are about 25 bucks a box or come out to about $1 each. If you don't want to keep buying these, one thing that one of my subscribers showed me was the moldable silicone putty. This came out to I think like 10 bucks. And this is essentially the same thing as a dam. You just mold it to the shape of the finger holes, around the finger holes. And once the plug material hardens up, you just peel this right off. Very simple. And this is reusable. So this is a cheaper, more affordable option to do, is the moldable silicone putty. And last thing is a torch. So you want to definitely get a torch. And this will help eliminate any kind of bubbles in the hardening process. And also it will help out with thinning of the compound as well too. So good thing to have. You really just hit it for a couple seconds here and there to get rid of the bubbles, but it's definitely a good thing to have there. So here's another item that you'll need. This is the cheapest version of said item. So this is a bowling ball revivor. Innovative's more affordable single ball revivor. Essentially what this is a dehydrating oven. That's all it is. So I pretty much overpaid. I think I paid 250 bucks for this. You can go on Amazon and find a dehydrator oven for 150 bucks or less. You don't need to get this. This one, the temperature stays 140. You cannot adjust the temperature on this. I personally clean my bowling balls religiously after every practice or every league. So unless you do not clean your bowling balls at all, you probably want one of these. I rarely use this. The only time I've used this is when I have my friends' bowling balls and they haven't cleaned them in years. I put them in here for a few hours and it bleeds out all the oil from the bowling ball. But I rarely use this. Like I said, I would not get the Innovative brand. If you do get one, just go on Amazon, get a less expensive dehydrating oven. It does exactly the same thing. So you just put your bowling ball in there. And this one, you'll have to rotate every 15 minutes or so. You just rotate the ball. Innovative also makes the 2-ball bowling ball revivor, which you've seen, brand new. I think they cost around $2,500. A lot of pro shops use those, very expensive. And those automatically rotate the bowling ball. And those also have replaceable pads that you can put underneath for the oil. It's like the pad for the oil to drip onto. But this is your basic model, just single ball. Also good to have if you're buying used bowling balls. I did a video with this, with the Stealth Solid that I bought last year. And it was not clean in a long time because within the first couple minutes, it started bleeding a lot of oil. And the last thing that I'll show you is the Innovative bowling ball spinner. So I have it in this protective container that I bought at Home Depot for I think around 10 bucks. So you just put your bowling ball in here. This is the 1/2 horsepower one that costs around $300. They make a 1/3 horsepower and a 1/2 horsepower. The only difference is I think $30 to $40. I went ahead and got the 1/2 horsepower. So it's just a single speed. You put your bowling ball in there. You can sand it or you can polish it. Definitely highly recommend this as a pro shop item. That's definitely a must-have in your pro shop. So there we have it, everybody. So Bowling Fool Pro Shop Garage Part 2, or revisited 1 year later. What I have, what I would do differently. You've seen I did a couple new additions since the last video. So I got a mill press instead of a drill press. I got into bowling ball plugging. I got a few added accessories that I didn't have when I first started. You do not need all the things that I have. I kind of went overkill and got things that I rarely use. So it's up to you guys. All you really need to get started is a drill press or a mill press, a jig, drill bits, a shop vac, and your layout equipment, and you're good to go. You can probably get away with doing everything for under 1,500 bucks. If you find a really good deal drill press, you can probably do it for less than that. But you don't have to break the bank doing this stuff. Once again, you're not buying everything all at once. So don't get overwhelmed like, oh my gosh, this is an insane amount of money. You're not buying everything all at once. I could never be able to afford all this stuff at one time. You piecemeal it. You get the stuff that is important, and then you save up for the next item. But spend all your money on bowling balls like I do. So this has been a very worthwhile investment just for me. I don't really drill bowling balls for a lot of people out there. It's pretty much just me, close friends, and family. But my old PSO charged $90 a bowling ball to drill. I had to drive 40 minutes to get to them. I had to pay a bridge toll. That added up really quick. And so having all this stuff at my disposal definitely dropped the cost down, where this stuff has essentially paid itself off by the amount of bowling balls that I have. So you can look at it that way. If you ever decide you wanted to sell this stuff later on, bowling stuff will hold its value. It doesn't drop down significantly. So I look at it like an investment. It's a fun hobby to do. So the original DIY Pro Shop video that I posted a year ago is the video that got my channel up and running. So I want to thank every single one of you. And I kind of felt like I needed to do a 1 year later, what I've done, what I've upgraded to, and hopefully help you guys out in saving you guys money so you don't have to go through the trial and errors that I went through. You can just get the right stuff right out the gate. So yes, this stuff is not cheap by any means. It's not for everybody. I've drilled 60 plus bowling balls. I looked at all my videos lately and I had 60 bowling balls. I don't have that many anymore. I got rid of a lot of them. But it more than paid for all this equipment. Okay, because my last PSO was $90 to drill a bowling ball. 90 times 60 is a lot of money. That's 5,400 bucks. This stuff did not cost $5,400. So one thing I want to conclude with is I want to say that this is not for everybody, obviously. So if you are drilling a bunch of bowling balls, you buy a bowling balls once every month, once every couple months. If you're like me, you're a bowling fool and you decide to buy a lot of them just because you like collecting bowling balls, this is probably going to be your best bet. If you enjoy your PSO's work, your PSO is really good at what he does, and he's a good price, and he's a good value, and he's a great communicator, and he loves his job, by all means, stick with your PSO. So you may fit in this category. So if you're like a lot of my customers that bought my jig, their PSO is either not very good at their job, has a long wait time, it's very expensive. I know a lot of the PSOs out there have gotten really expensive. Then you may want to think about doing your own stuff. The reason I got into this is I hadn't really told many people, but when I bought bowling balls from my old PSO, I was buying them at a pretty good rate. And he looked at me and laughed, said, "Stop buying bowling balls." So I said, okay, a little light bulb went off in my head. I said, okay, I'll just stop buying from you. I'll buy online, which is going to be cheaper. And then I'll go buy my own stuff, which when I decided to do my own research, looked at how much the cost of it all would be. And lo and behold, I paid more money in drilling fees than it would have cost me for having my own drill press. I'm also the type of dude, like I said in my first video, I work on my own car. I mow my own lawn, right? There's very few things that I pay an expert to do, because if an expert can do it, why can't I? And so that goes with you guys too. If you guys are DIYers and you want to do your own stuff, you want to have the satisfaction of drilling your own bowling ball. There's nothing quite like the satisfaction of ordering a bowling ball online, having it delivered to your house, bringing it out to your garage, doing your layout, drilling it up, and a half hour later, you're heading down to the alley with your bowling ball. No wait. You know you did it perfect because you were the one that did it. There's a little bit of satisfaction that goes along with that, in my opinion. Hopefully I covered most of the information you guys may have questions on, or if you're looking to start up your own pro shop in your garage. If I haven't answered a question you may have, feel free to leave a comment down below. or just email me at thebowandfool@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe. Like I said in the beginning of the video, we're doing a giveaway once I reach 2,000 subscribers, which is less than 150 away. So we're getting there really close. I want to thank every single one of you guys out there for hitting the subscribe. Also liking my videos. It helps out with the algorithm to get my videos out there a little bit more. I know you guys love my DIY bowling stuff. That's essentially what I started my channel. So I want to thank you guys. And with that said, happy bowling and happy drilling.
Io la io parlo